If you've been thinking about starting to sell on Amazon and really don't know where to start, or think that it takes you months on end to actually build any sort of momentum, this video is going to prove you wrong. Now, I'm going to be showing you exactly step by step how you can start selling on Amazon in under 48 hours. And this is even if you're working a full-time job, even if you have kids, even if you have all the excuses in the world not to do this video will help you know how to just simply leverage the time that you do have to focus on the things that are going to move you one step closer towards your goals with an Amazon store. And my goal is to simply help you leverage the world's most popular shopping platform to your advantage through an Amazon business, all without needing any sort of prior experience, placing bulk orders, spending money on ads, or needing to create any sort of fancy websites. And I'm going to show you quite literally every single step you need to go through so that way you can get started this weekend. Now, just a disclaimer, the results that I show you guys throughout this video and other videos, they're not typical results. Your individual results may vary at the end of the day because some people are going to work harder than other people, and I can't guarantee whether or not you're going to get a specific outcome or a specific result. And to that point, this video is only made for educational purposes only. So let's get into it. All right, so let's first start off with the first thing that you need to do for an Amazon business, which is obviously register. Now, the registration process is very easy. It's very simple. People might overcomplicate this more than what they actually need to, but think of it of creating like a Netflix account or creating an Amazon consumer account. It's pretty straightforward at the end of the day. You just need to go through a couple different steps in order for Amazon to actually verify your identity. And to be clear, we have one of our students, MJ, who's homeschooling her 3 daughters on her own, right? So this specific individual has all the reasons as to why she shouldn't do an Amazon business. She shouldn't need to go through this process, and that she doesn't have to go through the process. But at the end of the day, although her time, she might seem like, oh, there's not a lot of time in the day. I also have Erica, let's say, for example, who's working as a remote sales agent, working maybe 10 to 12 hours Monday through Friday. It's not about needing a lot of time. And that's the most important misconception that a lot of people oftentimes construe before they come into this. It's just simply about needing the right information. So the first step to this whole entire process is going to be creating the Amazon seller account. And this process is important because in order for you to create an Amazon seller account, that's how you're going to get access to sell products on the Amazon marketplace in whatever country you live in. So let me share my screen here and let's dive into it. All right, so when it comes to the registration process, it's very simple. It's very straightforward. Firstly, you're going to go on Google, type in sell on Amazon, and then whatever marketplace you live in. Okay, so if you live in US, you're going to type in US. If you live in Canada, you're going to go ahead and type in Canada and click that search icon there. Okay, so as you can see, once you do that, .ca is going to be for the Canadian marketplaces, and then anything.com is going to be through the US marketplaces. Now, what's important here is you're going to want to register within the country that you actually reside in, within the country that you have valid issued government identification from. Okay, so this is important because Amazon wants to make sure that only citizens within the country that they're living in can actually sell in that specific country. So let's say, example, let's say I choose whatever country I'm living in. It's going to bring you to this particular page. Okay, so how to register as an Amazon seller. It will quite literally take you about 2 to 3 minutes to go through. Okay, so the first thing, you need to provide any sort of business information. Okay, so when we say business information, what's important here, they're not actually saying that you need to have a business registered, you need to have some sort of legal entity formed or anything of that nature. You don't. What they're simply referring to is just the business information in regards to your Amazon store specifically. So as you can see here, right, the business location, select the country where your business is going to be registered. Even if you're operating as an individual or your business, it doesn't matter. Okay, so what we're going to be doing, and majority of people do, is they just simply register as what is called, I am an individual seller. And an individual seller means you don't need an LLC, you don't need to incorporate a sole proprietorship or anything like that. You can do that later on down the line if you choose to, but in the beginning, you just don't need to have those things set up when you're starting to look selling on Amazon. So you're going to create your business name. Okay, so this is exactly the specific business name that you're going to have for yourself. And then step 2, provide your seller information. Okay, so this is probably, I guess you can say, one of the most important things, providing your seller information. So obviously your legal name, any sort of country of citizenship, country of birth, date of birth, residential address. Okay, so the reason why this is important is because you're going to use a government issued ID like a passport. Okay, this is what Amazon going to use to basically dictate who can sell, who has verified identification, and who does not have verified identification. So as you guys can guess, right, Amazon's a very secure platform. They only want to be able to make sure that there's actual people selling on the platform rather than it being simply people from overseas selling fake, inauthentic products, let's say, for example. So hence why they go through this registration process. Now, usually any sort of driver's license can be considered a government issued ID. A passport is also a government issued ID as well. So once you go through that, you can provide your billing information. Now, to be clear, okay, there's basically two different types of store types that you can have on Amazon. You can have the beginning plan, so an individual plan where you don't pay a monthly fee, but you pay per product listed and per product sold, or you have the professional selling plan, which is about $39 a month. Okay. The professional selling plan is something that's a lot more cost effective, and you might as well just pay it at the end of the day. You know, majority of us are spending money on Disney and Prime memberships and Netflix memberships. That comes out to $40 a month as well. So just make sure that you're setting up for the professional plan. You're going to input your billing information, input your card details for Amazon, so that way they can charge your information. And then you're going to provide your store and product information. Okay, so providing the store information, what they're referring to here is actually the storefront name. Okay, so you will be required to create your storefront name. Now, when creating your storefront name, the only thing you want to be mindful of is just make sure you're going through a process that you're not having a store name that's so niche or so focused in one particular area. You're actually having a store name that's universally applicable, that's short, that's concise, that makes sense in people's eyes when they are ordering from your storefront, all right? So I'd rather have a storefront name called Shane's Store 101, let's say, for example, just as a hypothetical example, don't use that name, rather than Shane's Coffee Bar 101, let's say, for example, okay? I don't want to have something so niche. I want to have something universally applicable, because the products we're going to be selling are not just only going to be focused in one area, they're going to be focused in multiple different areas, multiple different product categories as well. So that's where you're going to provide your store information. Now, you're going to be prompted to answer this information here. You just simply say no, essentially, to every single one of them, and then you're going to be able to verify your identity, okay? So once you go through this process, again, the registration process, the verification process should be taking you less than 24 hours to be fully up and running for your Amazon storefront and to start selling products. So this whole entire registration process it takes all of 5 minutes for you to be able to complete. It's not long, it's not complicated. You're not entering in pages of information. You're just making sure that you're giving yourself the opportunity. And believe it or not, this is probably the hardest part that everyone decides not to go through, is actually starting, is actually making the commitment to create an Amazon seller account. It's the simplest thing in the world, but that's essentially where everything becomes a lot more real for people, okay? And starting is the hardest part, but it's the most crucial part. In order for you to be able to get to where you want to be, in order for you to be able to start selling products on Amazon, you first need to register an Amazon account. And by the way, now where MJ's at with her business, 4 months into being inside of the mentorship program, she's now crossed over $58,000 in total sales, but she didn't do it alone. She had step-by-step one-on-one guidance from me directly and our assistant coaches and the whole entire community to help her get to the point of where she's at today. So if you want me to personally walk you through and mentor you inside of the mentorship program, exactly like what I've done for MJ and for over 700 people as well, all you got to do is simply click the link in the description down below, apply to be a part of the mentorship program, speak with me, speak with one of my student advisors, and let's see if we can actually help you, so that way we can get you one step closer to achieving your goals with an Amazon store. All right, now the second part to this is going to be diving into the suppliers, right? So it's a 3-step business model that we follow along with. It's very simple, it's very easy to do. But in order for you to be able to list products on Amazon, if you don't have a supplier, you basically have no products to list, no products to research. So the suppliers are one of the first beginning parts that you all need to be mindful of, ensuring that you're using the right types of suppliers, but also having products that your supplier has that you can easily sell on Amazon, so that way those products can sell without spending money on ads, without placing bulk orders. Now, in order for you to do so, you have to use suppliers that what we call dropship-friendly suppliers. Dropship-friendly suppliers mean suppliers that are going to ship the product directly to the customer's doorstep. So remember, in this instance, how we're conducting this business model, you're the middleman. You never touch a product, you never see a product, you're never buying products in bulk, you're never placing any money on ads to get those products to sell. So because we're essentially the middleman, we want to have our products get sent directly to the customer's doorstep for us. And with that, that also means that we have to use domestic-based suppliers. So all of these other things that people might like to use, like AliExpress, Alibaba, Temu, CJ Dropshipping, we're not going to be using those types of suppliers, simply because the product quality is not 100%. And the reason why people come to Amazon is because it's fast and it's easy. So we have to cater to that, hence why we're using domestic-based suppliers. So what I mean by that, if you sell in the US, you're going to use US-based suppliers. If you sell in Canada, you're going to use Canadian-based suppliers. So after you create your Amazon account, this is going to be one of the more time-consuming elements, because you got to find the right types of suppliers. And finding the right types of suppliers, like I said, you don't just want to use any random one. So for every single one of my mentorship students to receive access to this document here, and inside of this document is basically an SOP, a step-by-step breakdown on how to get access and how to find out if a supplier that we actually want to utilize is indeed dropship friendly. Now, we have this email script that we utilize to get approval and get understanding in regards to whether or not a supplier is dropship friendly almost instantaneously by asking the right types of questions and positioning the whole entire email in a way that's looking, if you were to purchase from them, how is the product going to come? How is the product going to arrive? Because what you don't want is if a customer orders a product from you and then you go to order that product from your supplier on their website, and then when the customer gets their item, customer paid $100, but then they see inside of the box of the item, there's an invoice for $50, let's say. Okay. Obviously, that can cause some sort of confusion on the customer's perspective. So what we try to be able to do is use scripts like this, but also if you're in the perspective where you're trying to find suppliers on your own time, all you can simply do is you can go dropship suppliers USA. And once you do that, you can be able to find a bunch of different drop shipping suppliers that you can utilize for your Amazon business. If you want, you can also get into the perspective where you're going based on a category. Okay, so I can go air fryer supplier USA, and then I'll search that, and I can see that there's a bunch of different types of options that we can utilize for wholesale suppliers or for any types of suppliers. We just need to verify and make sure we're walking through our supplier checklist to make sure that we can actually utilize these suppliers and they are indeed what we call dropship friendly. Now, for every single one of my management students, they actually don't have to go through this because we provide you guys with a list of over 200 domestic based suppliers for you to be able to work with. So hence why it makes their life a lot easier. But for you on YouTube right now, it's a little bit more of a manual process that you have to go through. It might take a little bit of time for you to be able to find a domestic based supplier, but usually what your goal is, finding 1 to 2 suppliers is a good start. Ideally, you're going to want to have 3 to 5 suppliers in your back pocket as you grow and scale your Amazon business. Now, once you find your domestic based supplier, it's all going to come down to the product research. Now, the suppliers, these are things that remain constant, right? You're setting up your Amazon account. Once you're verified, you're good to go. You don't have to do it again. And once you found the right supplier, the same concept applies. You don't necessarily need to find another supplier after that point. But the product research is the one task and the one thing that you're going to continuously be doing day in and day out in order for you to be able to get to the point where you know with full confidence that this is the only thing that's going to put money in your pocket. It's finding the products that people want to buy. Now, when it comes to the suppliers, right, ensuring suppliers are dropship friendly. Dropship friendly basically means ordering 1 unit at a time. So hence why whenever placing bulk orders, when we say not spending money on ads or ensuring that these products can sell organically, what that basically comes down to is reselling products from big brand name items. So things like Nespresso, things like Keurig, think like Lego, let's say, for example. These are big name products that people already know, like, and trust. So there's already a ton of organic traffic flooding towards those products that you can be able to leverage. The only thing it comes down to at the end of the day is ensuring that you can position yourself where your supplier has the product price point at a specific price and that same item is selling on Amazon at a higher price. So when it comes down to the research process, all you're really going to be doing here is, let's say we have this DeWalt, it's a 2-pack. I'm going to use a tool called AMZ Scout, and what this tool does is it helps me gauge what the product rank is, but also it tells me specifically what the estimated monthly sales of the product is. So as I can see here on this particular item, the estimated monthly sales is about 244 for this particular item because the rank is 45,000. So this tells me, and this gives me a good understanding that people buy this product day in and day out. Now, Amazon does give you a little bit of insight in terms of saying there was X amount of units bought in the past month, but AMZ Scout takes in correlation what the BSR is, and it helps you as an Amazon seller understand the sales data. So if you were to list this product, would it be something that's worth it? Yes, and would the product sell through? It would sell through simply because it has a really good product rank. Now, we use these specific things in terms of the rank to dictate whether or not a product, when we find it on Amazon, is something that's worth buying. But also to that point, DeWalt is a very well-established big brand name within the tools and home improvement category. So this is a brand that people already know, people already like, and people already trust. So they know that DeWalt products are high quality products, considering that if there was no brand name associated with this particular item, it wouldn't necessarily do so well, right? So as an example, right, if I go drill set and I type that in, when I go drill set, you can automatically see organically what are the brand names that are popping up that people already look for. Okay, so I can see DeWalt is right there in that first row. So because DeWalt is right there in that first row and they're not sponsored, so these are not products that people are paying to boost, it's just organically showing up because DeWalt is a big brand name product. It's a big brand that a lot of people like, trust, and know. And that's why there's already this organic traffic going towards this product listing. So you're never going to have to be in a position where you have to spend money on ads to get these products to sell, because what your job is as a third-party seller is to check to see what product your supplier has and check to see if that same exact product is selling in Amazon. So you never have to create a product listing from scratch. You never have to do any sort of complicated SEO or anything like that. You're going to focus on what's already working. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. And what your job is, the general rule of thumb is, when you list your first 20 products following specific guidelines for the product research, you're going to be in a position where you're going to end up making your first sale. Someone like Brandy, let's say, for example, who just started less than a week ago and already made her first sale with her Amazon business. Someone like Sean, let's say, for example, where in under 2 weeks, he started his Amazon business and he already made his first sale as well. Okay, so these are the specific things our mentorship students have exclusive and in-depth training on, because this is the most important thing, is that product research and how exactly you can get the point to being successful with the whole entire process of selling on Amazon and finding the products that people want to buy. Starting an Amazon business and really being successful with it is building momentum and going one step at a time. A lot of people want to hit that big goal of their first sale or their first 10K month and whatnot, and that's great and all that, but the only way you can get there is by focusing on the small little incremental wins as you build your whole entire Amazon store, registering the storefront, finding the right types of suppliers, doing the product research, and so on and so forth. So a lot of people try to be so perfect with every single little detail, but perfection is the enemy of progress. And if you're in a position where you're a little bit more free-flowing, you understand what to do and how to do it, so you're just going to go out there and list as many products as you possibly can to see what's going to sell. Those are the specific traits that most successful students embody to get to the points at where they're at inside of the mentorship program. Now, if you want a little bit more in-depth in regards to the whole product research process, the supplier sourcing process, click the video on the screen now to watch my full Amazon dropshipping beginner's guide that I've went through 49 minutes worth, even a little bit more than that, of absolute value to show you every single little detail you need to know about Amazon dropshipping and how it works. But if you're someone that you need a little bit more handholding, you find that YouTube videos are helpful, but they're just not enough to answer your specific questions, you need more one-on-one support, and you really want to get access to my guidance and what has helped over 700 people the last 4.5 years with this mentorship program, then you can just go ahead, click the link in the description down below, apply to see if you're going to be eligible to be a part of the program, speak with myself or one of my student advisors, and we can see if we can help you. So to end this off, if you feel like you got any sort of value from this video, and if you feel like this video really structured everything for you on how to actually build an Amazon business in under 48 hours, please go ahead, like this video, hit that subscribe button so that way you can see more videos exactly like this showing you how you can sell on Amazon. I'll see you in the next one.